Hi everybody, I'm Emer Maguire and welcome to my home. I'm a science communicator and that means I love science and I like talking to people about science in the hope that they will love it too. Today I thought we could do some stay-at-home science and I wanted to talk to you about our brilliant bodies. Today we are going to make our very own pair of lungs and learn about why the lungs are so important. I'm also going to show you some bones and get you thinking about the science of skeletons. Oh, he was missing his brain, wee bit like myself. We're even going to talk about one of our most important muscles, the heart. I'm going to teach you how to take your own heart rate, and we're even going to do an experiment to see if you can make your heart work harder. I wanted to start off talking about something that every single one of us is doing right now. Can anybody guess what it is? It's breathing. We breathe all day, every day, without even thinking about it. We humans need the oxygen in the air to survive, and the lungs have a really important job when it comes to oxygen. So we breathe in air through our noses and through our mouths, and it goes down our windpipe, which is a big tube in our throats, and it ends up inside our lungs, which are inside our chest. Now we've got two lungs. They're actually a pair. And if you looked at the inside of the lungs, they actually look like a really big sponge. They're really spongy on the inside. So what the lungs do is they take the oxygen and they pass it to our bloodstream. And the blood then is pumped throughout our body. And the blood does a really good job of spreading the oxygen we need all around our body. To get a better idea of how it works, it would be really great to see a lung, wouldn't it? It'd be good if you could just look inside and see your lungs for yourself, but unfortunately we need to keep them inside our bodies where they're pretty hard to look at. So I thought instead what we could do would be to make our own pair of lungs. So you need a few things. One of the first things is a plastic bottle. Now the bigger the better, but a small one will work as well, but I would prefer a bigger one. You also need 2 straws. I've chosen these pink ones because I think the inside of our body is pretty pink. So 2 straws, you're going to need a couple of elastic bands. I've probably got a few too many, but I've chosen to take quite a few in case I accidentally break them. You need scissors, also an adult to help with said scissors. You need some balloons. You actually need 1, 2, 3, but again, in case I rip too many or burst too many, I've got a couple of extra. And finally, you need a little bit of dough, a little bit of Play-Doh. So, first of all, take the top off the bottle. You don't need that, we're not going to use that, okay? You need to get your scissors, and what you need to do is get an adult in your house, like me, to cut the bottle in half for you. So, I'm going to make a hole here. And I'm going to start cutting around the outside. Now it doesn't need to be too neat, okay? This is science. We're not in art class, doesn't matter how neat it is. You just cut the bottom of the bottle off, okay? And like I said, if it's a bigger bottle, that's a little bit better because you'll be able to see everything clearer. So what we've got now is just the top of the bottle, and this is going to be the chest where our lungs are going to go. What I need you to do next is get one of your balloons, give it a little bit of a stretch, and you are going to tie a knot in one end of the balloon. Now I'm not very good at tying, so I'm going to get my adult to tie this balloon for me. Now you can do that too. It takes a little bit of time. It would take a lot longer if I did it, unfortunately. So we're going to get it tied in half. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut off the end of it. Now it's a good idea to get your adult to do this as well. So the adult get the scissors and then cut off the end. Now you're going to cut off the bigger end, not the end with the knot. Okay, so I'm going to cut that off. And now this next bit is probably the most difficult bit. We need to put this around the chest. Okay, so stretch it out a little bit. Get another pair of hands if you have a couple of hands just hanging around like I do. And you want to make sure the knot is in the middle, first of all, and stretch it out and see if you can put this balloon over the bottom of the bottle securely, just like that, okay? So we have made our chest. We've got this extra band of muscle here at the bottom. Now all we need is our lungs, okay? So I'm gonna put that there, and I'm gonna get my straws. So these straws are gonna act as our windpipe. Remember what I said? This is our windpipe. Gonna get 2 balloons that are our lungs. Maybe give them a little bit of a stretch as well. And I'm gonna need a couple of elastic bands that are going to keep our lungs in place, keep them attached to our windpipe. Now, it's much more high-tech inside the body, of course, but this isn't too bad whenever you're trying to make your own lungs at home. So put the balloon on the end of the straw and then use your elastic band to make sure that the lung, is secured to the end of the windpipe. Okay, now you don't want to do it too tight that the straw starts to crumble, but you want to do it tight enough so that your lung doesn't fall off. And then to see that it's going to work, you want to blow through the straw to make sure the balloon inflates. Oh, can we see that? Fantastic. Okay, now do the same at the other side. We're going to do the same thing, make sure it's not too loose and it's not too tight. And then once you've done that, again, you want to make sure that the lung is able to inflate when you blow in. Now that is just like when we breathe in, our lungs inflate full of air. Okay, so next what we are going to do is get our chest and put our lungs inside. Okay, so see if we can get both in. Now this is why a bigger bottle can be good, because you can see a little bit more clearly. Now what I like to do as well is to kind of use another elastic band just to keep the 2 straws together, because this is one windpipe. Okay, so I'll just put that there just to keep it together. I'm going to cut the top off just so they're both the same length. Brilliant. Now the problem is our lungs aren't staying in place. We need something to keep them in place. Just check first they're both working. So this is where you're going to get your Play-Doh. You can use anything like putty, plasticine, anything that you can use to make a seal between the balloons and the top of the bottle. Now the reason for this is because we only bring in air and bring in oxygen through our noses and mouths into our lungs. We don't want it coming in anywhere else, do we? That would feel a bit funny, it would feel a bit weird. So we want to keep that seal nice and tight. And then you can check it again by ensuring your lungs are inflating when you blow in. Okay, so this is what we've got so far. There are 2 lungs and there is our windpipe at the top. Now, this is like us breathing into the body and our lungs inflating. And whenever we breathe out, our lungs deflate. Okay, so this is like a mini version of what's going on right inside your body all the time. Now, whenever you breathe out and your lungs deflate, they breathe out things that the body doesn't need, like carbon dioxide. Now, what about this bit at the bottom of the bottle? It's something under our body called the diaphragm. And if your diaphragm does that, it means there's something very wrong with it. So what you can do is get your adult back, hold the balloon for you, maybe hold it upside down like this, and make sure your diaphragm is sitting just perfect. You're going to stretch it, maybe get someone with really, really big muscles, like myself, to put it on there. Okay, thank you. Spare hands, and you got your diaphragm sitting there. Now the interesting thing is, This is our diaphragm. It is a muscle, a band of muscle in our bodies. It sits underneath your lungs. So whenever you breathe in, your lungs need more room to expand. So your diaphragm, which is here, moves down. And whenever you breathe out, your lungs seem a little bit smaller. They don't need as much room. So your diaphragm moves up again. Now, if you put your hand on your tummy, whenever you breathe in, your diaphragm will push your tummy out. So take a big breath in. And you feel your diaphragm moving your tummy out. So whenever you breathe out, your diaphragm moves your tummy back in again. Now, let's see if it works on the model. So when our diaphragm goes down, it's because our lungs are inflating. When our diaphragm goes up, our lungs have deflated. So down, our lungs inflate. Up, our lungs deflate. So it's really interesting to think that you have a bigger, slightly gooier, more interesting version of this right inside your body. And there you have it, your very own homemade lungs. I hope you all enjoyed making your very own lungs. And we know the lungs are really important, so they need protected. And they are protected by our rib cage, which is a bony frame inside our chest that protects the lungs and the heart. The rib cage is part of one of the most important structures of the human body. That is our supportive skeleton. It's the frame inside our body made up of bones. And the skeleton has a few jobs. It holds us up so we don't go all floppy like a jellyfish. In fact, that's the reason jellyfish are so jelly-like, because they've got no bones. Our skeleton also helps us move, and it protects our valuable organs, like I said, like the lungs, also things like the liver and the brain. Some people think that bones and skeletons can be a little bit scary because you see them at Halloween or in scary movies, but we need them. And if we didn't have them, we couldn't walk, we couldn't move, we actually couldn't even breathe. Basically, we couldn't survive. So I want to show you a few of my favourite bits of the skeleton and tell you some things about it. So whenever we're born, we have 300 teeny tiny little baby bones. That's a lot, isn't it? 300 bones floating around inside a baby's body. But whenever you start to grow up, your bones fuse together. So by the time you're an adult, like me, you have got 206 bones in your body. Once our bones are all grown up, they're pretty amazing. They are 4 times stronger than concrete. So if you think how hard concrete is, our bones are 4 times stronger than that. Some parts of our body are made up of lots and lots of little bones, like this. I wonder if you can guess what part of the body this is. Any ideas? Anybody? It's actually your foot. So the foot has got 26 bones all working together to help us walk, and we need all the help that we can get. Did you know that most humans walk over 100,000 miles in their lifetime? Now, one of my favourite bones in the body is this one. This is the thigh bone, or to give it the proper name, the femur. Now, it's my favourite for 3 really, really important reasons. Firstly, because it rhymes with my name, femur, Emer. Secondly, because it is the longest and strongest bone in the body. And thirdly, because there's a really cool trick that you can use to work out the length of your femur. So the femur is about 1/4 of your height. So this is probably the size of mine. I've held this up to my thigh, this is the size of it. So, if we push our chair back, this bone goes right here. So from my hip, right down to my knee, okay? Now, I said the femur is about 1/4 of your height. Divide your height by 4, you'll figure out roughly how long your femur is. So my height, I took it earlier, it's 168 centimeters. If I divide that by 4, I get 42, which means my femur is around 42 centimeters long. Kind of this long. Here's something I want you to try. All you need is a tape measure. Ask an adult in your house to help you measure your height. Maybe do it twice to make sure that you get it right. Then divide that number by 4. An adult can help you with that too if you want. I needed help with that myself. Then get your tape measure and have a look at how long your femur might be. Is it bigger than you expected? is it's smaller. As you grow, your femur will grow too. Another part of the skeleton that is really important is the skull. It's made up of 22 bones, 8 up here in your head and 14 bones all in your face. Isn't that amazing? Now the thing is, if we look at a skull, it nearly looks like it's one bone. Look how smooth it is. Can you see that? Now what happens is all the little bones join together so it looks like a skull. The skull here has the top missing, and that's because I wanted to have a bit of a look inside at the brain. Now, the brain is one of the most important organs in the body. It's pretty squishy. It allows us to think, it allows us to dream, it controls our bodies, it allows us to communicate. That's allowing me to make this video right now. It allows us to remember stuff. Basically, it makes us human. Like I said, the brain is pretty soft and squishy, and it would get damaged if it wasn't protected. So the brain sits in the skull, and the skull is basically like a little house for the brain. You put the skull cap on top, put the top of the skull back on, and it's like the roof, keeping the brain safe inside. We have another really important organ in the body that we couldn't live without: the heart. It's basically a muscular pump, a bit like a bicycle pump, and it works by pumping blood around the body, making sure it goes everywhere it's needed, like to your muscles. But it's not that big, it's about the size of a fist. So look at your fist, that is the size of your heart. It also weighs about the same as a can of cola. And your heart pumping gives you your heartbeat. If you measure your heartbeats in 1 minute, that's your heart rate. People also call that a pulse. You have a resting heart rate, which is the heart rate that you have when you're just chilling out, like sitting at home, reading a book and not moving much. So I want you to try and take your own heart rate. Here's what you need. You need a watch. You might need an adult to help. Get yourself a pen and paper, and you also need you. So first of all, you need to find your pulse. This is the difficult bit. To feel your pulse, you take 2 fingers and you put them here like this. So this is your jaw. Might be very chiseled like my own. And you get your 2 fingers and you put them here just underneath your jaw and you press gently. And what you're looking for is a very faint pulse type feeling, okay? So you might need to look around, but eventually, oh, I've got it. You'll find the spot where your pulse is. Mine is right here. Yours might be somewhere different. Maybe you're a little bit smaller than me, maybe you're a little bit bigger than me, okay? If you can't find yours, don't worry, it's definitely there. If there's not a pulse, panic. I'm only joking. Ask an adult to help you, okay? You might need someone in your house to give you a hand, see if they can feel your pulse for you. Once you've got it, you're gonna figure out your resting heart rate. Remember, it's your heart rate when you're just chilling out, doing nothing, resting. So I want you to get your watch or your timer and time yourself for a minute. You are going to count how many times you feel that beat in that minute. Now the beats per minute you feel will be the resting heart rate. Normal heart rate depends on your age. So if you're 3 to 4, your heart rate should be anywhere from 80 to 120 beats a minute. If you're a little bit older, maybe you're 7 or 8 or 9, your heart rate should be anywhere from 70 to 110 beats per minute. If you're 10 or older, even if you're an adult, normal heart rate will be anywhere from 60 to 100 beats per minute. I actually measured mine earlier and mine was 74. So if you're anywhere within that, that's normal. If you are super fit, your heart rate might be lower than normal. It might be as low as 40 beats a minute. So I want you to figure out what yours is. Feel your pulse, time for a minute, and count how many beats there are. You might want to pause the video here so you can check out your resting heart rate. Okay, have you done it? You figured out your resting heart rate? Does it fall within those numbers I was talking about? So now that you've figured out your resting heart rate, I want you to do a bit of an experiment for me. I want to get your heart pumping and I want you to raise your heart rate. Now, I want you to run on the spot for 30 seconds. I know that's an incredibly long time, but I can just about manage it, so I think you can do it too. I want you to go as fast as you can. You need to work really hard to make your heart work hard. And after you do 30 seconds of running, I want you to measure your heart rate again for a minute to see how it's changed. I'm going to help time you, okay? So I want you to run really fast for 30 seconds. Now I'm not going to run because I have a bit of a sore leg at the minute, but I'm going to sit here and cheer you on. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so I want you to go as fast as you can. You're not going fast enough, a wee bit quicker than that, come on. Now, super fast. Right now your heart is thinking, oh, my owner seems to be moving way more than they were a minute ago. I better work harder to keep up. That's 15 seconds, you're halfway there. Your heart is starting to pump harder. When it pumps harder, it's sending blood out to your muscles to make them go quicker. You might actually start to feel your heart pumping in your chest. There's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. Now, oxygen travels in our blood throughout our body to make our body work hard. And if we move faster, we need more oxygen to keep us going. The heart makes sure we have it, pumping harder to spread oxygen all around the body. And we now know that comes from the lungs. So you're probably breathing a little bit faster and harder to get more air now. Am I right? Anyone feeling out of breath? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to take your heart rate after that exercise. Find your pulse, count how many beats you have in 1 minute. You might want to pause the video again to check that out. Now, you've got your heart rate. Was it higher? Was it lower? That's right, it was definitely higher. If you exercise, your heart rate becomes higher because your heart works harder to pump blood to your muscles. The great thing is that exercise can actually improve your heart function over time. The more you exercise, the more your heart will get used to pumping blood around the body faster. So over time it gets a little bit easier. Practice makes perfect. Because of this, people who exercise more should have a lower resting heart rate. I really hope everyone's enjoyed today's stay-at-home science with me, Emer Maguire. I would really love to see everyone try and make their own lungs. And don't forget to have a go at other experiments like figuring out the length of your femur or even taking your heart rate. Thank you for watching.